Hello, I'm Patrick Grattan of Revere Trading, and this is a continuation of Part 2, Backtesting Multiple Criteria. If you followed along in our previous video, you know that we've set 4 different criteria and ran the development table to see what combinations of the patterns would work the best. In this case, we found that pattern 86 was the best because it had the highest score of 11.2. At this point, if your strategy is good enough to satisfy your needs, then you can stop right here. You don't need to go any further. You can just trade pattern 86 in real time. If, however, you want to try to add more criteria, then we're going to need to combine the existing criteria and reduce it down to fewer criteria so that we have more room to add more algorithms to the strategy. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So in this case, pattern 86 is strategies or criteria A or B and C and D, and they're using 1, 20, 30, and 31, which are just unique assignments of each of the criteria A, B, C, or D. So let's go ahead and fill these out here. To start, we need to go to the input data, and we need to actually encode criterion A into the input data. So this close 1 less than close 2 needs to actually be put into the input data so that it can be a true or false indicator. So this would be column 5 and 1 day previous less than column 5 2. So 5 1 less than 5 2. So let's go ahead and put that in. Equals. So this will be 5. So column 5 is the close, and we said 1. So that's the previous day. Less than 5 2, which is 2 days previous. So there, we've got true. So on this particular day, that criterion is true. And that's all we got to do for each of these 4 criteria. So let's go back and look at the next one. The next one is 2, 0, less than 5, 1. 2, 0, less than 5, 1. Put equals. 2 and 0, so same day, is less than 5, 1. That's the previous day. Put that in there. There we go. We've got true for 101 there now. For the next one, we're going to see 2, 1 greater than 5, 1. So back here again. Equals 2, 1 is greater than 5, 1. Just like that. We got false for that day. And finally, we have 2, 0 less than 2, 1 equals 2, 0 less than 2, 1. Just like that. True, true, false, false. That's just what it is on this specific day. We got to copy it down so it will do it for every single day. So I copied that. I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom here and paste. And there. So now every single day it is determining whether each one of those criterion is true or false. 100 through 103. And again, that just represents criterion A, B, C, or D. We've got all 4 criterion now encoded in here directly. Now, we'll go back to the development table. Okay. We need to combine these assignments. Now, pattern 1 here has assignments that look like this. So let's first of all take this here. And I like to use the scratch pad here because it's blank, and we can work here to see what it's going to look like. So here's the patterns. And again, we're going to come back and we're going to take pattern 1, which was the first one on there. And you go to the scratch pad. Put pattern 1 there. Let's go back to the development table to see what the next pattern was. So again, for 86, the next pattern was 20. So let's come up here and look for pattern 20. So we need pattern 20 right here. Paste 20. Go back to the development table. Again, pattern 86. The next one is going to be 30. So let's go up here and look for pattern 30. It's right here. And then the last one here is 31, which is right here. So you see, we are grabbing a pattern from each table to put this together. Oops, like this. Okay, and then how do we combine these? Again, we'll come back here and look. Pattern 86, we combine with A or B in parentheses, and C and D. So let's go back and do that here. So this is going to be a parentheses. This is going to be an or. Parentheses and equals. Set these up, make them a little bigger. So you can see what we're doing here is just setting up the equation of how we're going to do this. So we're going to have to come up with an assignment for each one of these decisions, and what is it going to look like here when we're done. So let's just construct the whole thing like this. We're going to blank these out. So this one, we don't know what all these are yet, so we're going to have to fill those out. There we go. This will be the first one here. So what we're looking at here is we're going to set a new criterion. This criterion is going to be a combination of the old criterion that fit pattern 87. So x is equal to A or B and C and D, just like that. You can see that right here. X is equal to all these like that. Next one is going to be false or false, so it's just false, and D and false. Well, there's a problem here right away. You're never going to be able to have a short position because D and false is always false. If this is an or, then it might be a possibility, but with it being false and an this will always be false here. So we don't need to put anything here. That's a false. False or false and false is simply false. And then we've got the second one here. This one is going to be y. So again, what does y equal? Y equals not A or not B and not C and not D. You can see that's what we got here. Not A or not A and not C and not D. This one should have been not A. Let's put it in there. Just like that. There we go. Not A or not A, and not C and not D. Just make sure the parentheses are correct. There we go. And then on decision 5, false or false and false is obviously false, so we can just put that right in there. And then finally, the same thing here for decision 6. We do have a not D in here, but the fact that we are combining it and with a false just means it's going to be false. Okay, so you can see we have 4 criteria, A, B, C, and D, and we are able to reduce these down to just 2 criteria, X and Y. And we're going to encode those in there right now. So let's go over to our input data and do X, and that's what 104 is going to be. This is going to be X, and 105 is going to be our Y. Okay, and this is going to be equal to, and again it's the A or B and C and D, and those are represented in 100, 101, 102, 103, so it's just 100. We're going to put this in. We've got to put this in the correct form. So it's going to be an OR statement. And we've got 2 within the OR statement. We've got this one, comma, this one. So that's our OR statement. And then outside of that, we've got and. And this is our first one, is the OR statement. The second one will be 102. And then the second one will be 103. That's got to be up one though. So there we go. Right there. We got the 101 or 102, and 103 and 104. There we go. That is our x value that we had on the previous one. Now we need to do a similar one with y. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this over, and we're going to modify it because that's going to be faster. Okay, there's a couple of differences that we got to change here. First of all, the first one was going to be, if we go back, first one was not A or not A. We can actually simplify that to just not A. We don't need to make it so convoluted. So let's just go ahead and reduce that. Like that. Not A and not C and not D. So let's go back to the input data. We gotta copy that back over. So again, we're going to get rid of the OR. We don't need the OR here anymore. We're just going to keep one of them. Or the A, I should say. Okay, we got, let's see what we got here. We got A and B and C, except they've got to be nots. So we're going to go ahead and put those in. Not this one. Not this one. And finally, not this one. There we go. X and Y. That's what we had from the scratch pad. Well, we're going to copy these down. There we go. Now we've got the 4 criterion are condensed down to just the 2. Now we're going to put those in there. So before we do that, let's go back and take one more look at pattern 86, which we got in here. We can simulate the above assignment. It looks like this. This is our blue one. It looks very good. We go to the results table. We're going to save that plan. We go back to the results graph. You can see it now makes it green because we're saving that one. Now let's go back here and let's use the X and Y. So we're going to get rid of criterion C and criterion D. We're going to keep A and B because this is going to become our X and Y. Okay, and the first one we're going to set here is going to be 104. Okay, 104 and 105. We'll go ahead and put both of them in. So this one is going to be 104. Next one's going to be 105. Okay, and then these are going to be 0 because we're going to use them on the same day. Okay, and we're going to change these to the equal sign. Okay, and what are we going to have them equal to? If we go back to the input data here, we can see that there is column 16 here, which is just the constant true all the way down. So if this column is equal to true, then you're going to execute the trade. If it's false, then you're not. So that's all it is. Just if it's equal to the column 16 true. So let's put that in. Column 0, 1, 6, and we can use that on the same. The same one doesn't really matter what we put for that, but it's just a constant. 0, 16, and 1. Okay, and then how do we combine them, or what assignments do we give them? Assignment for decision 1 will be A, and for decision 4 will be B. A, B, with the rest set to false. Okay, clear the 86 out of here so it doesn't do that. We're going to simulate with just these assignments here. And you can see that the blue, which you can't see, is the new strategy. You can't see it because it's hiding right underneath the green. In other words, we have just successfully condensed 4 parameters or 4 criteria down to just 2. Excuse me. So if we go to the results output here, you can see our previous one we used pattern 86 was 11. Our new one with just the 2 criteria is also 11. We go back to the setup tab here. You can see we have the same results, except instead of using 4 criteria, we're only using A and B. That means now we can come in here and we can put stuff in for C and D, okay? And they can be anything. You put a brand new criteria in here. It doesn't have to be these old ones. And then when we run the simulate above criteria, it's going to combine criteria A and B, which represents our previous 4 criteria, and combine them uniquely with new criteria C and new criteria D. To make sure these 2 criterion are combined properly in the development tab, there's one more change you got to make so that it works out. If you look down here, the decision 1 is set to A, decision 4 is set to B with the rest to false. We got to make sure that one of the patterns in here have that same exact assignment. Pattern 10 and pattern 20 you will notice is in green. The reason they're in green is because those are directly modifiable. We can change those to exactly what we want, A and B. And that's exactly as we have it on the Setup tab. Decision 1 is A, Decision 4 is B, the rest are set to false. Now pattern 10 is those 4 criteria combined together, and when this program combines pattern 10 with some of the other ones down here, you're going to get new patterns. So just to verify that, we can go pattern 10, come back to the Setup tab, we can type pattern 10 directly into here. Simulation runs again with pattern 10, and you come back to the results graph, and once again the current strategy, which is in blue, is hidden by the green. So that means we've exactly matched our previous 4 criterion. So once again we can see pattern 10 is now the 4 criterion condensed down to just 2. So you can see by doing this, always adding new criteria and then condensing them down to fewer criteria, we can endlessly evolve the strategy and have a more and more sophisticated strategy. So I just want to reiterate, this is only advanced techniques for those who want to use more than 4 criteria. 4 criteria is enough. You can get it done in 4. You don't have to do all of this. But if you do want to add more criteria, I would recommend that don't try to do it in your head. Use a scratch pad like I did here, where you just lay it all out. This is what the combined pattern looks like. This is how you combine it, and then you just come into the input data, and then you set it. You just set it explicitly right in here, 104 and 105, and yeah, I think it should work. It works every time. So just practice that if you want to go that route, and I think you'll be successful. Thanks for watching. That concludes this video.